This is the Tombigbee Tales, and I'm your host, Shannon Evans. I write about a small town in northeast Mississippi on the Tombigbee River. Sometimes I write about the rest of the state. This episode is titled Blanche Colton Williams. She lived from 1879 to 1944. Blanche Williams, a Kosciuszko, Mississippi native, entered the Industrial Institute and College, now called Mississippi University for Women here in Columbus, at age 15 in 1894 as a scholarship recipient, as the W was a new free school for some young women. She would graduate in 1898 and embark on a lengthy teaching career, starting at Stanton College in Natchez and then moving to Grenada College 6 years later. By 1907, she had won an Industrial Institute and College scholarship for alumni for graduate studies, and she left and went to New York City. The graduate award was for $500, which was significant considering a teacher made about $32 a month if she was female in Mississippi at that time. When she left for New York City, she would first earn a Master of Arts and then a PhD in 1913 at Columbia University. After earning her master's at Columbia, she began teaching at then all-women's Hunter College, where she would stay for the bulk of another 30-year career teaching young women until she retired in 1939. She was even appointed head of the English department in 1926, something unusual for women in that time. The school would eventually become co-ed in 1950s on the Bronx campus and 1964 at the Manhattan campus, quite a few years after her death. Williams is recognized for her expertise in the American short story form. Her text, The Handbook of Short Story Writing, first published in 1917, is still considered the Rosetta Stone of the short story form instruction manual. Due to her recognized expertise in short story form, in 1919, Williams was made chair of the prestigious O. Henry Memorial Awards Committee, a position she would hold until 1932. Williams is best known for promoting the underrepresented in literature, primarily women. In her text on short story forms, Williams broke tradition and used the forms of significant numbers of women writers to illustrate specific techniques for new writers to emulate. Something very unusual. You might find 1 to 2% of women writers used as examples in previous texts on writing. Williams broke that tradition by increasing that to about 30 to 35% of her book was based on examples from women writers. She broke tradition in her personal life as well. She was a member of the women's suffrage movement. She was also active in literary circles. In 1925, she was asked to be a judge for the Black Writers' Journal Opportunity, a major stepping stone for writers in the Harlem Renaissance movement. Her work on the May 1925 Opportunities Awards edition included prize winners Claude McKay, Zora Neale Hurston, Langston Hughes, County Cullen, Sterling Brown, and Franklin Frazier. Opportunity magazine was important to the world of Black writers, essayists, scholars, and poets, as Black writers and scholars had no other outlets for publications in other established media in the 1920s and 30s. As a result of Williams' involvement with Opportunity, she would even meet and then mentor Dorothy West, whose work she would recommend for publication in the Columbia University magazine. Williams' personal collection of papers, first editions, and over 1,000 short story anthologies in her personal collection are now archived at MUW's Fant Memorial Library in Columbus, Mississippi. A smaller collection of her personal library was donated to Delta State Teachers College. After retirement at Hunter College and the international success of a biography on George Eliot in 1936, a biography on Clara Barton in 1941, and a biography on John Keats in 1943, Williams began a homecoming lecture series in Mississippi at the former II&C that had then been renamed Mississippi State College for Women in Columbus. She was diagnosed with cancer and would never return to her beloved New York City. She died on August 9, 1944 in Jackson, Mississippi, and is buried at the foot of her parents' grave in Kosciuszko, Mississippi, in Atala County. I want to thank Bridget Plachelle for her research, which I leaned on heavily. This research that I used was published in Mississippi Women, Their Histories and Their Lives, which was published, I believe, from the University of Georgia Press, which is a book that Plachelle was a contributor to. And the book was published in 2003. Thank you again for coming to Tombigbee Tales and learning a little bit more about the people and the places in this town and the people who made significant impact who have passed through this town. Until next time.